Imagine meeting someone who feels like a literal soulmate from day one. They shower you with flowers, constant texts, and promises of a future together. Every conversation feels like it was meant to happen. Every moment feels like proof that this is different from anything you have ever experienced before. But here's what nobody told you. What you are feeling right now is not love. It is a calculated psychological weapon specifically designed to shut down your brain's warning signals before you even realize you are already inside a prison.
Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to this explainer. You see, the really fundamental thing we need to grasp right off the bat is that love bombing, it's not an accident. It's not just, over-enthusiasm from a new partner who's just really into you. And it is definitely not that magical love at first sight that movies and pop culture have totally conditioned us to romanticize. No, love bombing is a deliberate, predatory strategy. It's used by manipulative personalities to hook you, and fast. Under completely normal, healthy circumstances, romantic attachment is supposed to develop gradually, right? You spend time with someone, you observe them in different situations, you catch their little inconsistencies, and you let trust build slowly through reliable behavior over months, maybe even years. And that gradual process exists for a very specific reason. It's basically your brain's natural quality control system for one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Love bombing is specifically engineered to completely bypass and destroy that system before it can even boot up and do its job.
So to really understand why this works so effectively, we've got to look at the neuroscience. The very first thing love bombing targets is your brain's warning signal network. Your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain responsible for rational evaluation, critical thinking, and long-term planning, is literally chemically suppressed by the massive dopamine flood that intense romantic attention produces. When someone is constantly showering you with affection, extreme validation, and that overwhelming feeling of being completely chosen, your brain responds with this massive neurochemical cocktail. And honestly, here's the terrifying part. This cocktail is functionally identical to the early stages of drug addiction. You're not thinking clearly because the actual chemistry of your brain has been temporarily altered. And the person doing this to you, they know that. They aren't falling in love with you. They're creating a rapid chemical dependency. So when they suddenly pull away, which, by the way, is a core part of the manipulation cycle, that dopamine just crashes. You aren't just heartbroken, you are experiencing actual, literal neurological withdrawal. They do all of this before you've even had the necessary time to decide if they even deserve a place in your life. And this brilliantly illustrates the timeline manipulation at play here, which is just staggering. Moving from day 1 to week 2, the second thing love bombing does is create an artificial sense of shared history and deep connection in an impossibly short amount of time. I mean, imagine someone you literally just met on Tuesday telling you by Friday that they've deleted all their dating apps because you are the one. Manipulators will start referencing inside jokes from your very first conversation as if you've known each other for years. By week 1 or 2, they're talking about your future together, maybe even bringing up marriage or moving in together, with this intense confidence and specificity that makes it feel like it's already a done deal. They quickly position themselves as the single person on earth who has ever truly understood you. And here's the thing, humans are biologically wired to feel deep loyalty to people who make us feel deeply known and seen. So the bond this creates, it feels entirely genuine and incredibly significant to you, even though it was manufactured in mere days rather than built reliably over months. The feeling you're experiencing is real, but the foundation that feeling is sitting on is an absolute illusion. Now let's look at how this operates today, out in the real world. Modern dating app culture provides the absolute perfect cover for this kind of predatory behavior. Just think about the actual architecture of dating apps for a second. The pace of interaction is already artificially accelerated. Push notifications are literally designed to prime our brains for dopamine hits before we even open a message. Texts arrive constantly, conversations can run incredibly deep within hours of swiping right. This environment is the ideal camouflage for love bombing because intense, rapid-fire connection feels completely normal when everything around you is already moving at warp speed. The manipulator doesn't even stand out right away because the medium itself encourages this kind of instant gratification. They weaponize the user interface, blending right into the digital noise, and they use the accepted speed of the apps to completely mask their accelerated predatory psychological timeline. Because this camouflage is so incredibly effective, you need a practical survival checklist. These are the specific red flags you need to watch for right now, today. First, they try to move the relationship off the app immediately. This isn't just about convenience, folks. It's to isolate you from the platform's safety features and establish unmonitored intimacy across your personal texts and social media. Second, they push for exclusivity before you've even had a single in-person meeting. Third, pay super close attention to their language. If they're using words like destiny, soulmates, or calling it a once-in-a-lifetime connection within the first week, that is a glaring warning sign. Fourth, they express sudden hurt or dramatic withdrawal if you don't instantly match their intense level of communication. And finally, they create this really early us versus the world dynamic. This subtly positions everyone else in your life as less important or less understanding than the magical bond the two of you share. Keep this toolkit top of mind. It is literally your early warning system. If you recognize any of those red flags, it's time to shift from being a target to taking full control. Reclaiming your reality after love bombing begins with two really fundamental defensive steps. Step 1, slow everything down. Look, I know it feels deeply counterintuitive to hit the brakes when something feels this magical and extraordinary, but you absolutely must do it, because the pace itself is the weapon being used against you. Step 2, re-engage your support system. Reach out to the people who anchor you in the real world. Taking these steps is incredibly empowering. It's not just about playing it safe. It allows you to actively deploy your own biological and social defensive mechanisms to completely shatter the artificial bubble the manipulator has tried to trap you inside. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is that taking things slow isn't just setting a boundary. It's actually a diagnostic test. Think about it. A person who genuinely loves you or is genuinely interested in building a healthy, lasting relationship with you is still going to be there if the relationship develops at a speed that allows you to actually think clearly. They'll respect your boundaries without making you feel guilty for having them. On the flip side, a person who is using intensity as a trap will react entirely differently when their mask slips. The exact moment you introduce a normal human pace, they're going to become intensely uncomfortable, pushy, or just dramatically wounded. They might deploy the silent treatment, suddenly accuse you of not caring about them, or lay on these heavy guilt trips. Listen, their reaction to slowness will tell you absolutely everything you need to know about why they needed you moving so fast in the first place. You are exposing their entire strategy simply by hitting the brakes. And that brings us to your ultimate protective measure, the absolute importance of outside connections. One of the most consistent defining features of love bombing is that it gradually positions your outside relationships as threats to your new connection. The manipulator doesn't necessarily need to outright forbid you from seeing your friends. Instead, they might just sigh heavily when you mention going out with them, or text you constant guilt-inducing messages while you're away, just to ensure your mental focus remains entirely on them. So, deliberately maintaining your outside friendships during any new relationship is not a lack of commitment to your partner. It is your most crucial defense. The people who knew you before this person arrived are your reality mirror. They are the only ones capable of telling you whether the person you are becoming inside this relationship bubble is still recognizably you. Genuine love is not in a hurry. It does not need to move fast, because it is not trying to get somewhere before you notice something. The next time someone makes you feel like you have found everything in an impossibly short time, do not silence that quiet voice. It is not fear of something good. It is recognition of something you have not been given enough time to see clearly yet.